So today we're going to be going through probably one of my favourite subjects, credit control. I say that because 27 years ago I was a credit controller, so something very dear to me and something I know an awful lot about as well. Now, by means of an introduction, who are Draycir? So Draycirs are the authors of all the solutions you're going to see today. So we've been in the Sage channel for 22 years now, basically developing solutions for Sage, whether that's Sage 50, Sage 200 Professional and Standard, or Sage Intacct, or even Sage X3. We develop solutions for all of those. Everything you're going to see is compatible for all of those solutions as well. So this is the whole range of our products. Depending on which flavor of Sage you have will depend which products will actually work for you. Our main focus today is to look at credit control. So we'll be taking a look at Hound Cloud. And you'll see next to that at the bottom there's also another Credit Hound, which is our Credit Hound Professional product, which was a product that was developed many years ago. But in recent years, we've actually taken all the good bits from Credit Hound Professional, but also redeveloped the whole solution so it does now have a cloud offering. Now, don't worry if your Sage software is not cloud, that doesn't matter. So we are still working with Sage 50 and Sage 200 on-premise solutions. Credit Hound Cloud is compatible with all of those as well. Now, I'll also be putting in the mix as well, pay them, because if we can make it easier for people to pay, they're more than likely to pay on time. And I'll also be covering spindle document distribution, and you'll be seeing why in just a moment. Okay, so let's have a look. So Credit Hound, why is it such a popular solution? Well, believe it or not, these statistics are almost eye-watering. I mean, 52% of all invoices in the UK are paid late. Doesn't say much for us here in the UK. But it's a real historical thing, you know, and I know from all those many years ago when I was a credit controller, you will always know those companies that don't actually pay you until you chase them, you know, and I think that's where the vast majority of this 52% has come from, or a copy invoice has gone, a copy of the actual invoice you've sent has gone AWOL, and so therefore they don't realise it's there that needs to be paid, or, you know, there's lots of different things that means that, you know, you're not getting paid on time. And I really do think these statistics here is a true example of why Credit Hound is not only so popular, but also helps get all of these percentages down as well. So let's have a look at the journey of an invoice that is not paid on time. So, of course, the first thing that will happen is the order is received. Next thing is you send out the goods or services, whatever your business you're in, an invoice is sent. You'll give them X amount of days for them to pay. Could be 30 days, say, to pay. They don't pay the invoice maybe, or during the lifetime or within the terms of that invoice, a statement is sent out. You're probably sending out statements on a monthly basis, which will show all the invoices on their account. And then what happens is the invoice is now becoming overdue. We've gone past that 30 days. And this is where a lot of the difficulty will then lie, because how are we then recognizing those invoices that are overdue? Generally, it's an age debt report. An age debt report will show all invoices overdue, and I'll go through and manually then chase those, mainly by probably email, and I'll chase those customers. Invoices then still overdue. We're now at 60 days overdue. It's still overdue. Right now I'm going to give them a call and find out what's happening. And that is generally the journey of an unpaid invoice. Now, is there anything more you can do to help you get paid on time? Yeah, absolutely. So actually, let's put in some extra steps here to see how software could actually help you. So at the time you're sending out an invoice, if you are an organisation that accepts card payments, then what you could actually do is automatically put a Pay Now button powered by Draycir's products Pay Them to make it easier for that customer to pay. You can either, in the content of the email you're sending out, you put a hyperlink there, or you could put a hyperlink within the body of the email itself, or both of those things. So that would really help. The other thing we can do when we're sending out an invoice is actually to archive that invoice. So actually, once that invoice has been archived, you can then, when you're sending out a statement on a monthly basis, not only is it just a statement, that statement can also attach all the copy invoices. It can even have a pay now button on as well. If you want to go one step further, anything that is overdue on that statement, if you have a sales team, it might be you want to advise someone in that sales team that an account they look after is actually overdue. So actually already, even at that statement stage, I'm already allowing different things to happen to help me get paid. I'm allowing them to pay with a pay now button for a card payment if that's what you'd like them to do at invoice stage. That's making it easy for them. But at the statement stage, the fact that I'm giving them all the copy of the invoices, the statement can also have a pay now button on as well. I'm making life even easier. There will be no excuse that, can you send me a copy of the invoice? Because actually your customer will know, oh, my supplier, every time they send me a statement, has got a copy invoice attached to it. If they still don't pay, because I'm not going to say those steps are going to absolutely make sure that you get paid on time, but if they still don't pay, rather than printing out or downloading an age debt report, going through manually, we could actually, and this is where Credit Hound will then step in. Credit Hound can automatically chase a customer by email without you doing anything. Now, don't worry, you can almost ring fence certain customers. So you're chasing them differently. And it might be you're thinking to yourself, well, out of all of my customers, I know there's 10 or 20% I wouldn't dare automatically send an email to. That's fine. You don't do it for those people. But you can make automated tasks for the software to remind you to check their account, but then the other 80%, automatically it can send out email chases. So this really does change the way that you're doing things. If the invoice is still overdue and you have been sending out automatic email chases, I mean, hopefully the software's done its job and they've already paid at this point. But if they've not, then the software can automatically let you know by means of a reminder task for you to call the customer. The other great thing is with Credit Hound Cloud, all the notes are within the software. Even all the emails are within the software. The replies are within the software. It really is your one-stop shop for everything that's happening with that particular invoice. And the other thing, unlike with your age debt report, if you're putting notes on there, of course, the next time you produce one, do you transfer the notes? Do you keep referring back to the old ones, etc.? So you'll have none of that. And also remember, once these invoices have been paid, they are no longer outstanding. Therefore, the software knows not to chase them, to provide you with tasks. And I can also eliminate them from Credit Hound Cloud, so I'm only seeing what's outstanding as well, which really does help from a credit controller's point of view. Okay, so let's have a look at those first two steps that I mentioned. So actually, before we even look at Credit Hound, so adding copy invoices to statements, putting in the HTML email content for payment links, and automatically sending the statements out to a salesperson. So this is a product called Spindle Document Distribution. If you're on Sage 50, then we have Spindle Document Distribution and also Sage 200. If you have Intact or Sage 200 Standard, we also have the cloud product of it as well. What I'm about to show you happens exactly the same for all of those products. So this is now what you could be sending when you're sending out a statement from any of the Sage products. It will produce the statement. That statement is the one you'll be already sending out now. But as you can see, I've got a copy of all the invoices automatically attached. So how easy is that for your customer then to make payment? You've already attached all of the invoices. It might be, though, you're thinking, okay, I've got a lot of copy invoices that will be attached. I don't think that would work. And that's not a problem either. We've also got another method for that. But things like putting in the aging buckets within the content of the email works really, really well. You can see here I've got some hyperlinks within the content of the email, one of which says you can instantly click to pay now, or if you require a copy invoice, we've also got a click here as well. So this is going to be the next means of how I'm able to do that. We're going to see it in a moment. We can also send this email here to my salesperson. Anytime a statement goes out that's overdue, they're going to receive this email so that they know. So again, this could help you within your business, bridging that gap from accounts to sales so they're aware of it. Obviously, you don't have to do these things. This is just to give you ideas of what the software is capable of. So Pay Them is another piece of software that I mentioned as well. And this is when we're looking at the Pay Now option. So it gives you the ability, we saw the hyperlink a moment ago, which we can put on the email content. We can also put the Pay Now button on the statement, invoice, pro forma, whatever it is that you're wanting to put it on. And the actual Pay Now button itself is completely configurable. So there is the link to say that you'll be able to see the copy invoices. You can do exactly the same as this in your Credit Hound chasing letters, which we'll see later on. You can put a Pay Now button on your invoice or on your statements. That button can say whatever you need it to on it. And then when your customer clicks on that button, it will actually take them to a branded payment page. This is where they'll be able to see the list of transactions on what it is you're chasing, or in the statement, or the invoices that are outstanding. That will then contain the hyperlink of the copy invoice. So going back to the example of attaching all the copy invoices to the statement, actually, this would be the method. So when your customer clicks on Pay Now, whether that's from a statement or from one of the Credit Hound chasing letters, what they'll be able to see is a payment page like this with your branding on it. We can also see the view document hyperlink that takes them to the invoice, and also they can tick the invoices they wish to pay. Now, if they've previously paid, you can probably see here, these three here have already been paid. These ones are still overdue. This one is not due. So my customer can actually tick the ones that they want to pay for, and then simply by clicking Pay Now, they can obviously then very quickly make payment. So by using that method, it just makes it nice and easy for your customer to pay. Now, because Draycir are not a bank, you would need a payment provider to link this with, and we work with the three that's on the screen. So Elevon, that was formerly SagePay, Draycir Pay, which is powered by Total Processing, and also Stripe as well. So if you are interested in the Pay Now button, you would need an account with one of those three payment providers. Okay, so we're at the statement stage now. What happens if my customer still doesn't pay on time? And that's where Credit Hound Cloud will come in. But I just wanted to give you an insight almost before the invoice is due and sending out a statement of different ideas that I can provide you using other software on things that you might want to do. So why Credit Hound? So the absolutely obvious one is just to reduce the outstanding debt. And the reason why it can reduce your debtor days, we've got a recent case study from one of our customers who have reduced their debtor days by an awful lot. They said they absolutely could not do it without Credit Hound Cloud. It means they've got more money in the bank, so they've got better cash flow as well. And with your credit control, it means you can actually be that much more proactive instead of it being all reactive. So even the elements I've already shown you, that's sort of being more reactive, but also there's nothing stopping you chasing before the due date of an invoice as well, maybe just for those bad payers. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about being more proactive. Saving time. So it will always be quicker to use an automated piece of software like Credit Hound rather than that manual process. A lot of the time is spent on transferring notes, checking Sage, have they paid since I created this debtors report, etc. So automatically, you will always save time by using software like Credit Hound. There's always be a quick return on investment. The cost of this product is not vast at all. It will always be a lot cheaper than a human being doing the job. That's a given. So let's have a look at Credit Hound Cloud in a little bit of detail. So what it will do is send out the automatic email reminders, and that's what most people do want. But remember, you don't have to treat all of your customers the same. We can ring fence different customers to treat them in different ways, which is exactly what you'd want to do. It will also have its own sort of task management system. So you'll be able to see the customers that you need to call back because they said they're going to pay today. Oh, they've not, so I need to chase them up. Or maybe just an ad hoc task that I want to put in there. You can chase all the accounts 100% of the time if you want to, or you can just go in and ring fence those ones that you want to. We've already spoken about the Pay Now link, which does make a huge difference. In recent years, we have seen such a vast increase on people wanting to pay by card, business to business. And I think one of the main reasons, or maybe the two reasons why that is if, say, for example, you were providing your customer with 30-day terms, if I pay that invoice on my card at 30 days, I've just extended your payment terms from 30 days to 60 because I've now got another 30 days to pay that on my card. So actually now I've got 60-day terms automatically. So that's one of the main reasons we're seeing such an increase. But the other one as well is the perks. There'll be someone in that business that's getting the perks from that credit card provider. You know, whether that is VIP access into concerts, from air miles to everything. So actually, there is more of a drive business to pay by card. They are your two reasons why, which might not be something that you've thought of already. So I see a lot of people now, they've never taken card payments, but they most certainly are wanting to start doing that as well. Viewing the invoices via Spindle and Pay Them. So this is something I spoke about before. So actually, yes, if we've got that Pay Now button on the chasing letter, as soon as they click on the Pay Now button, we saw that payment page earlier that's got the hyperlink to the invoice. So we don't need to attach invoices when we're looking at Credit Hound. The hyperlink will already be there. The prerequisite to that is that invoice has previously been sent out using Spindle with a Pay Now button, because it's Pay Now that's actually archiving that invoice in Azure. So that's where your customer will then see it. Okay, so let's look at Credit Hound in action. If any of you have any questions as I go through the software, there is a chat, a meeting chat section in Teams. Please just pop any questions that you have as I go through, and I'll just be looking at my other screen where I can see the chat as I go through the software for you, and I can answer any questions as we go through. Okay, so this is Credit Hound Cloud. As you can see, it's on a web browser. What is syncing the data, if you're not on a cloud Sage software, will be a syncing agent. So if you're on, say, Sage 50 or 200, there'll be a syncing agent in between Credit Hound and your Sage software. And that syncing agent is pulling the information from Sage and then pushing it into Credit Hound Cloud. If you're on Sage 200 Standard or Intact, of course, it's cloud to cloud, so it's a direct sync for those two products there. But ultimately, what you're seeing on the screen is as live as it's going to be. The minimum sync for an on-premise solution is every 15 minutes. So, you know, worst case scenario, the data is 15 minutes old. So the dashboard itself, this is going to give you some great information. The total debt, obviously that's driven from Sage, what's not due, what's overdue, what's not allocated, so your credit notes, receipts, etc. But then the disputed is actually driven from Credit Hound Cloud itself. And you might have been wondering earlier that if it's automatically sending out chasing letters, what if someone's disputed an invoice? And that's why we're recording the disputes here in Credit Hound, because we don't want to chase somebody automatically if their invoice is in dispute. And that's why we can raise disputes here in Credit Hound, so the software knows not to chase it if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, if I'm not the person putting on the receipts in Sage, I'll be able to see here who's paid me in the last 7 days, so I can always be up to date with payments that are coming in, even though it's going to obviously update my software all the time. These will be my largest balance customers. So these are the ones I want to look after. So, any disputes, I want to make sure they're resolved quite quickly as well. We can see a pie chart here of where's my money. And because this is always driven by email chasing, it's going to tell you how many customers have a missing email in Sage or an email that isn't actually an email because the format of it is incorrect. So what to do with these customers will be to export a list to Excel, or we can just click it on the screen here. We would always go into Sage, change it in Sage, and remember then it would sync through. The reason why we do it that way is because we're not syncing anything back into Sage, but also it means when we've updated Sage, it's correct in Sage and it's correct in Credit Hound Cloud as well. Okay. So, talking of syncing, it will sync through all of your customers into this screen just here. So I'll be able to see all my customers here. We can also see a collection path. We're going to come on to this in just a moment. A collection path is, how you want to actually chase them. So I'll be going in detail how we set up these collection paths. We can also see within the configuration of the software, we can actually put our email templates. So if you imagine these email templates, when you are manually chasing somebody by email, maybe at 7 days overdue, 14 days overdue, 25 days overdue, whatever time that you're sending out an email, you'll probably already have a template. And that's exactly what these templates are here. So you can simply copy and paste your template into here. We've made it nice and easy. Let me just show you on here. Popping in a transaction table, nice and easy. Popping in the Pay Now button, again, nice and easy as well. Okay, so really all you need to put is the wording in it as well. So once you have all of your emails in here, we can then start almost creating a pattern of events when you want these emails to be sent out to your customers. And there could be emails in here for more of a problematic bad payer than maybe a key account as well. So actually your wordings might be different. So how I would create my collection path, let's create one from new. So let's say I'm going to call this one my problem payers. So if I'm calling a collection path a name, it's just for me to easily recognize what that collection path is and who it's for. I can also put a description in there as well. I can then determine which days we would like these chasing letters to go out. So if you're only working Monday to Wednesday, you might just want the letters to go out on the days you're there for obviously any inquiries, or you can have 5 days of the week. We can say what time we would like these emails to go out as well. And also we can filter, if you don't want, I was on a meeting the other day and they didn't want any chase emails to go out under £50 amount. So this is what we can do here as well. Now, the chasing action. So this is going to be, our procedure for chasing this type of customer. So what will be my first action? Is the first action an email to be sent out, or is it to create a task to remind me to then do something? So in this example here, I want to send an email in the first instance. I'll call it letter 1. And I then tell the software, for that letter that I'm sending out, do I want it to be sent so many days before the due date, on the due date, or so many days after the due date? Now what I'm going to do, because they're a problem payer, I'm actually going to send this out 7 days before it's due. And I have in my template, so these are now the templates there, I have a friendly, overdue with or without a pay now button, different levels here, but I've also got a preemptive reminder. So now I've got that template and add it in, I can then say, okay, if they still don't pay, when do I want the next letter to go out? Well, I'm going to say 7 days after it's due. I'm going to make it friendly, send it out, and so on and so forth. So I'm literally now creating, a pattern of events of when I would like these chasing letters to go out. So there'll be a point where, okay, they've received 3 or 4 emails now automatically, but now I really need to speak to them. So we can call this whatever we need to. So this is a chase call, and I want to give them a call, which credit controller it is, and then I'm going to give them a call. I could follow it with another email, another task, however I want to do it. But now this is going to be my procedure for my problem payers. And what I'm going to do in a moment is actually see which are my problem customers and associate them to these collection paths. Now, what about people like your key accounts? Probably you don't want to send an email. So this could be at the beginning. I was saying, some people will say, okay, let's get 80% of the customers automatically chased, but the 20 or sometimes just 10% of the customers, it needs to be more personal because these are, really key accounts to us. So actually, let's not start with an email. Let's start with a task. So I could say that this is a key account check. And I might want to do that 14 days overdue. It might be a lot longer than that. They may be on 60-day terms. It doesn't matter. It's going to count how many days after. I could say that 7 days because normally they always pay on time. So actually, this is just the opportunity just for me to check the account. They might want a copy of an invoice or whatever it is. And it might be then I do another key account. I'll call it a second check. Then I might want to do that 21 days after it's due. And you'll see here, it will take the task out if it's been paid. Now, it might be that I do task, and then actually there always is going to be an email, or I can just leave it like that, however you want to do it. So once we enable all of these collection paths, we can head back over to our customer list, and you'll notice, sorry, let me just head back there. You'll see that I've got a default one. Keep your default collection path, the collection path that suits the vast majority of all your customers, because that is what everyone will be down as when you first install it. Then you can cherry pick out of that list there all of your customers that are problem payers maybe. So let's highlight those as being the problem customers. This is basically saying if these rules have already been run today, it won't be run for a second time. It will just take effect from tomorrow. And then all of these, let's say that all of these ones just here, these are then all of my key accounts. So now I've got 3 different collection paths. I've got my default, I've then pulled out of that my problem payers, and also pulled out of that again my key accounts as well. So we're going to have a look at a minute how these emails are going to go out. Before I do that, you might have noticed I've got a cash sale account here. I don't really want anything to happen with that, so we can turn it off completely. So even if a collection path is associated to it, by turning it off, it just will not appear in any chases or any tasks or anything like that. Okay, which is different to saying don't chase this one invoice. We're going to look at that later. This is just don't chase the whole account. So now all of this is set up, the emails are good to go. And we'll be able to see on the task list here, you'll see the scheduled emails that are due to go out. So because the rules haven't gone out today, we'll see that actually my collection path, which is my default one, is due to go at 11:30. Let's see on Friday, what have we got there? So again, we've just got one collection path going out. Let's go to next week. We shrink that down. So when you've got 2 rules that are being run at the same time, you will see them all here. So it will tell you how many emails are due to go out, what time they're due to go out, and also at the top it will tell you as a whole how much money is being chased. Now, because I've got preemptive chases, I'm actually chasing, nearly £29,000 that isn't even due. So that would be brilliant to get that money in on time rather than that being overdue in a week's time. So we'll also notice as well these exclamation marks. These exclamation marks here are actually warning me that these customers here have an incorrect email. So that just means we can then go back into Sage, pop in the email address. It will get rid of that warning, but at least we can see it before the emails are due to go out. So that's the scheduling of the emails. We can see that. We're going to have a look in a moment as well how we can see that the emails have gone out. Before we do that, we can just go into this task list here. So the task list, I don't know if any have actually popped in here. I don't think they have yet, no. So the tasks here are, this is where you're going to see the automated task. If an automated task comes in, it will be clearly highlighted on the title that it's come from the automated task. When they pay, it will automatically come out this list altogether. So actually, it might be that it's the task isn't due for another 14 days. If it's sitting in this calendar, it will automatically come out if it pays between now and that 14 days as well. So all of the tasks here, when you click into them, it will give you a hyperlink to be able to go to the actual account as well, and also show you what's previously been said as well. And we'll be coming into that into more detail later on. So let's have a look how the emails work. So Hound Cloud has its own email client. So the reason why it has its own email client is so we can keep all the sent emails and also the incoming emails within the software, which actually means, and you can see here, it's actually tracking my sent emails at the account level, but it's also tracking the invoice as well. So it means if I go against the account or go against the invoice, not only do I see that exact screen, but it will also show you a timeline of when the email was sent, when it was processed, when it was delivered. Now, I've clicked on this quite a lot this morning, just so you can see. Every single time I clicked on that email, it can show you that I've done that. Now, isn't that fantastic? So, we all know, unfortunately, some accounts need to go that bit further, but we can prove not only that an email was sent, but even every single time it had been opened as well. If it had a Pay Now button on it, it would also show when that had been clicked as well. So now, when the customer replies, you'll also be able to see, and I can see here I've got 2 emails in my inbox, basically. That's what that little red circle is there. So I can open up the email to see what it says, and I can reply back to it here. Any of the inbound emails and any replies is also being tracked against the account, against the invoice. So we're going to see that against the account in a moment. The prerequisite of that happening is that your email address will be at a domain called @credithoundcloud.com. That means it can be tracked in the software. If you prefer that not to happen, you can send it out of your own email. It just means it's not being tracked in the software. So you have an option for both. I would say the vast majority of all of my customers use the Hound Cloud email client because they're having it for ease of themselves, traceability, etc. Okay. So day-to-day running of the software, of course, everything that I've already told you is automated. So really, you'll either be starting from a task list just here to then go to the account, because I know that's a task for me to do today, or just looking manually, or a task when you're manually having to look at the account. So now we're having a look at the actual account itself, and you'll be able to see you can put an account level note here. Any call on a Monday, for example. But what you're seeing is the activity on the right-hand side. So anything we put in here note-wise is also being tracked at the activity level. It's also where I can see the emails as well. So any emails that have been sent out, etc., we're able to see those within the software as well. So let's do a chase and see how all of this works. Because to make life easier, when you highlight on an invoice, it will reduce down that activity just to show what activity has happened on that particular invoice itself. It can also show me the next time either a task or an email is due to be sent out as well. So let's say I was chasing, I'm going to chase these two invoices here. Let me log the activity. If I want to add to that, I can do, as you can see here, or reduce it, that's fine. I can say who it is I spoke to. If they're not in the list, that's fine, I can do that. What it is they said on the next payment run, paying next Tuesday. And then I can then either from here select next Tuesday, or if it was today, tomorrow, or next week, let's just make it nice and quick for you. And then I can follow up with another templated email. So let me just preview this. So this is one that I've already captured. So if I just preview this, you can see it's brought the details together. I've got that Pay Now button. Remember, that can take them to a landing page. That landing page can have hyperlinks to the copy invoices as well. If I needed to change the email address, I can do that. Or if I needed to CC someone in internally, obviously I could do that as well. By pressing send, we'll notice, there we are. So you can see the email is being sent, and that's the same timeline we saw earlier. So obviously when I open it, etc., you'll be able to see all of that transparency within the software here. Not only against the account and the invoice, you'd also see it obviously in the outbound emails, and when they reply back, I'd see it here and I would see it there as well. So one thing that I did there, so we can see it's logged an activity, same symbol. We can also see that there's a promise on there as well. And this is where all my promises will then sit. Now this is fantastic because this is showing me now every single customer that has promised me a payment by a certain date. But not only does it do that, it will also show me if that promise status is broken, which means the date they promised it is in the past. If it's open, which means the promise date is in the future, or it might say it's been kept, which basically means the date is in the future and also they've paid it as well. So as a credit controller, I'm interested in all the broken ones, of course. Now, they could pay for it, of course, but it went over the date. That's fine. We can see that's what's happened there. But these here, these are my target list. These are the people I need to contact because they've promised it the payment on these dates here, which is in the past, but they've either part paid or not paid at all. So this gives me a great way of knowing who to contact as well. Okay. So I spoke earlier about, and we can see here, this email is due to go out on November the 15th. Now, if there was a query, by ticking the invoice and putting dispute, it will pause that email going out. This is where I might want to put a note on it. Let's say the goods haven't been received, for an example. So I know not only is it in dispute, but why it's in dispute. When it's been resolved, I can then resolve the dispute. It will take that flag off. I can still see the audit trail here. I might want to put a note on, now received, paying next week, or whatever I want to put in there. Okay, so really easy to put notes in the system as well. Now, what happens for those customers that we're not automatically chasing? It was a key account. I've given them a call because that's what my task was for. Nobody's there, but I don't want to leave it there. I still want to chase them up. So I might just want to do an ad hoc chasing email. So these are the invoices that I want to chase here, the ones that are all overdue there. And we've got an email here. Now, what I could do is use my AI assistant to create me, I'm going to say, a friendly payment reminder because it's one of my key accounts, and there you are. So if I use that content, if we just preview it, we can see that's done it all for me. So now I can send that email and we can say, see, it's now sending the email there, And again, we still have that audit trail. So really easy to send out even a manual email. Now, I could also, when I'm sending these emails, is actually use one of my templates as well. So it's not just using the AI assistant, you can use one of your templates, or you can just start an email from scratch from there as well. So really, really nice and easy. So that's your main section of Credit Hound Cloud, where all the notes are and things like that. But let's see what else that we've got. So we do also have an invoice list here. So some people use this just to have a real view of everything that's going on with a particular account. I've got mine flagged on just outstanding. Do we know if there's any disputes on this account? So anything that's got a note on it, it's going to, or has a promise on it, we'll be able to filter down on all of these things per customer if we want to, or as a whole for all of your outstanding invoices that has a dispute. And it's going to filter it out. We can export from Excel on this one as well, and you can utilize this however you want to, if you want to at all. We already saw the customer list at the very beginning. Again, this is a place where we can export the data here. Really useful to export it when you're starting to create those collection paths. Obviously, you can do it on here. If I wanted to see, how many, my problem customers are, I can obviously filter on here as well, but I might want to, if I've got hundreds of customers, I might want to export that to Excel to just get a better view of it as well. So it's obviously more compact in Excel as well. So that is really useful. We've also got your age debts here as well, which also includes the disputed, which is really nice and handy as well. So we've also got that there. Again, it's an exportable one. We saw the collection paths earlier on and also the tasks as well. When there's multiple credit controllers, you can actually toggle between the different credit controllers here. Again, we saw the promises earlier on, and again, that is something that you can export as well. And I know a lot of people use this for like board reports and things like that, because you can actually see how many chases you've done from here if you're using the promises. And it's a real great way, because we can toggle through here as well to do a date range if we wanted to. Now, Credit Hound Cloud has lots of documentation to help you, whether it's getting started, the configuration of the software, how to use the software as well. In addition to that, we also have help files on our Draycir website. And so we have some training videos in here for Credit Hound Cloud, which even helps you with setting up and things like that as well. So lots of useful links for you to help you when you're using the software as well. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that for the actual demonstration of the software there, but hopefully it's given you a few ideas of what the software does. Now, the great thing, and I think this has been proven time and time again as a comparison to our older Credit Hound product, is that Credit Hound Cloud can be set up in minutes, literally. Once it's synced up with your Sage data, it's just setting up your templates and things like that, which you've seen today how easy it is then to do. And it's something you can do yourselves. You can even purchase credit reports from Experian within the software. Automatic updates happen generally overnight that we load them in, so you never need an upgrade of the software. It's just automatically. And the great thing is that there is a 30-day free trial for Credit Hound Cloud. So you can actually install the software yourself and trial it for 30 days. If after the 30 days the software is not for you, that's absolutely no problem at all. If at the end of the 30 days you say, yeah, brilliant, this has been a game changer for us, that's fine. We can then turn that trial license into a live license, and then you can be using the software. So return on investment, it goes without saying, it's a bit of a biggie because of all the reasons that you're seeing on the screen just here. We do have that savings calculator on our website if you're interested to see what the savings could be for yourself as well. But I can sit here and say lots of different things, and really it is what our customers say. So these are the sorts of things that our customers are saying that are currently using the software as well. And I think the main thing is people are getting paid faster, which is exactly what the software is supposed to be done. And the main reason for that is you can be chasing 100% of the customers 100% of the time, whether you're on holiday or not. The software doesn't matter because the software will still continue as well. Okay, so what's next? So if you want to see if you've liked what you've seen today but would rather have a more in-depth demo because you might have questions yourself on how you do credit control, that's not a problem. If you just contact your Kinspeed account manager, we could be able to organise a one-to-one demo. Likewise, if you want to know how much the software is, I've not displayed the costs on here because everyone on the call will be on different Sage flavours, so the costs will be different for all of those. So if you just contact your Kinspeed account manager, they will be able to help with the costs of those. Again, if you're wanting a trial of the software, we'll be able to send out the link so you can start the install and trial as well. So again, if you contact your account manager, they'll be able to send you the links for that. If you don't want to install it yourself, that's fine. A Kinspeed consultant can do that. Or if you want to do it yourself, that's absolutely no problem at all. And then Kinspeed will obviously then support the software in both ways. So that's it from me. I just want to say a huge thank you for those of you that have attended this morning. Hopefully I've given you a little bit of an insight of not just Credit Hound Cloud, but the journey of the invoice before it even becomes overdue. Remember, we spoke about spindle document distribution and also the introduction of the Pay Them button as well, and how we can integrate those two things with your statements as well, providing copy invoice in those different ways, whether it's an attachment or whether it's a hyperlink to the copy of the invoice as well.